Go.
They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandpa Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we. All right, Snickers, help me out.
What's going on, all you fantasy football fans out there? That's right, we're back for season 4 of the Snick Snack Sports Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm happy to be here tonight, Nate. How are you feeling?
Good to be here tonight as well, Nick. Great to be back for season 4. I think both of us couldn't believe it, assumed it was season 3, but we've been doing this 4 years now. That's incredible.
This is the 4th season, man, and it's all possible based on our fans out there, all our subscribers, all our commenters. We love you guys, man. Couldn't have done it without you. This is a dream come true.
Yeah, no, it just builds more and more fans every year. One video last year, we even had over 200 views, which immediately got taken down by YouTube. That's all right.
Yep. No. Man, life is good. Football's good. Football's back. Football starts tomorrow. I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, it snuck up on us this year because the Red Sox have been relevant longer than usual, at least in the past couple of years. But yeah, we will be welcoming one of our co-commissioners on the show today, announcing some exciting news from around the league, including some ideas that we've had to make this year fun. And before we just have our guest on the show, just want to recap briefly last year.
Yeah. If you're pulling that up, we had a very exciting, playoffs, very exciting finals. We had our first back-to-back champion in 5 or 6 years with Mr. Kyle, Mr. Foo Cuddly Poops.
Mm-hmm.
Got the W after not having much of a fight against Ducky the year before. We can pull up the scores, but I don't remember it being much of a challenge against Kenny this last year either. But anyway, Kyle joins the league of 2-time champions here. There's 3 of us now, so that's all very exciting.
Yeah, he snuck right in there. Just 2 years in a row, of course. And yeah, let's have our brave commissioner onto the show and talk about rule changes and what's going on in the league. All right. So welcome, Nick, our co-commish. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, for a Wednesday evening. Nice week, short week from Labor Day. Got to relax a little bit this past weekend, I should say. What'd you guys do?
We had a nice fantasy draft this weekend.
We did.
Yeah, left it down to the wire. And for 2 of you on the show this year, this may be the happiest you feel for the rest of the year as your teams lose and lose and lose and leave the rest of the winning for the rest of us.
I don't know. I'm looking at I got my team up right here. As much as I hated it in the middle of the draft, I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Everyone's team looks good right after the draft. So, but Nate, you say that you think you're going to beat me?
Yeah, and I have some reason to believe that. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, ESPN has ranked my team as the most likely to win this year. Thought we could maybe even start with showing that off a little bit.
Yeah, pump
you guys
yourself up a little bit here.
Can talk about why your teams are destined to fail.
Destined to fail is a strong word, Nate, considering I'm the one nipping at your heels.
Well, let's take a look here, Mr. Nicholas. It looks to me like you're in second place. So
my statement is accurate.
I don't know. And let's see, where are you, Snickers? All the way down and 7th.
This is the
Oof.
first time I'm seeing
Okay.
this, but obviously it's been tampered with.
Yeah, no trends have happened so far this year. We just see Tango with the truck father sitting at the top. Made some shrewd picks. I will admit this was the first year that I did miss a couple picks in the draft. I was having dinner with my in-laws at the same time and accidentally picked um, the Packers QB in some random middle round when I missed my pick. But Jordan Love.
Yeah.
I'm still impressed by the fact that John's team managed to draft 3 QBs.
Oh yeah. Third quarterback back again. 4 out of 5 years, something like that.
Um, but it's rivalry week, so we're gonna be talking about the rivalries, and we'll need some clarification from you, Ducky, in terms of how the rivalry week is actually going to work this year. I think there's been some confusion on that, and maybe you could start us there in terms of the rule changes. How does week work?
So there's no real difference to rivalry week. All we did was we went through kind of the 12-team league and kind of figured who are the most known rivals, where you can kind of get some trash talking and just generally coming into the league with a just animosity towards someone and just really hyping up football. So we went through and kind of picked out and just said, you know what, week 1 and week 14 is going to be you're going to start and end the season with your quote unquote rival. The rivals are kind of decided on based on whether that like you guys are obviously rivals, the co-host of the show. Me and Kyle are rivals just due to the fact that we kind of trash talk each other a lot, given the proximity of where we're at. John and Matt are rivals because they prefer to be mountain biking than watching football sometimes. So kind of like that. And then there was only one rivalry that was kind of claimed without our input, and that was the Shane and Katie rivalry. Not entirely sure how that became a rivalry, but I'm all for it. I love the rivalry. The
I think
first
they've been rivals about as long as they've known each other.
basically, Katie met Shane, and Katie and Shane were like, "Yep, I hate you, and I'm gonna curse your downfall."
Yeah, I think we nicknamed that the hatred rivalry. So hate at first sight, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but there had been a discussion around whether you would actually play your rival a third time. Did it turn out that not to be the case?
Yeah, we went away from that. It was running. We were running into issues with the scheduling where it would get like a little tricky. We were trying to kind of do rivalry week 1 and 14, and then like sporadically put rivals throughout the season, but it resulted in having people play the same team back to back, and it got a little tricky and a little just uneven. I'm not against circling back around to that last year, but it was just I think you were in the text chain made. Matt was just over it, and he just was like, "This is what we're doing. This is the schedule. I'm done changing," because he changed it. I had to imagine 5 times.
Yeah, certainly it sounded like the scheduling got really complicated with that. I couldn't remember exactly what we settled on, but two weeks makes sense. There's not like it's more matchups than anybody else. I think we have a few double matchups, but
Yeah,
beginning and end of the year is fun. And I know that many of our league members have really embraced the rivalries. Nick and Kenny are doing Shotgun Challenge, which they started last year. And I think that we really should challenge everybody to have some kind of challenge. I know me and Nick were talking before the show, probably do a bit of a pepper challenge, we're thinking, related to our two matchups this year.
Yeah.
not a bad
Um,
idea. If we could get, you'd have to unfortunately, is it not? It would be too much of self-imposed rules per se, where like you guys, you'd have to honor the rules. I think you can get some people involved in it. Um, I'd love to maybe by the end of this year or even next year come up with a sort of required bet per se, if we can get that going.
yeah, there could be a requirement in the future since in its inaugural season. I was thinking of just kind of not maybe honor system, but for those who feel bold, just issue your rival a challenge in the group chat, and if you want to honor that on the show here, all the better, you know.
Yeah, I
Or you
like that.
can just film it privately and share it with all of us.
Yeah. I mean, what we're really looking for this year in our 4th season doing the podcast here is more and more the community involvement here. So anytime someone wants to get on and because they lost, want to do a shotgun challenge, want to eat a pepper, want to, I don't know, do any kind of other little fun challenges, it's more about everyone else here, more about getting everyone involved and having a lot of fun with the league this year.
That might have been what it's about for you, Nick. For me, honestly, it's about getting the hate really brewing because it's getting a little chummy in this league. Some of this like good game kind of shit, and um, I'm hoping for at the end of the year, like I can't even bear to look at you because I hate you so much, kind of thing. And I'm not even going to invite Ducky onto the show because he's so terrible at this because he's so embarrassed by Kyle, that kind of thing.
I was gonna say, where are you going with that? I'm pretty sure I've owned you the past couple of years.
Well, I think at the end of this year, we'll have six kind of good people and six bad people based on the rivalries. Rivalries will be 2-0 across the board.
No, wow, bold prediction there.
Hmm.
Well, are you willing to wager bets on that?
Yeah, I'm willing to do a whole podcast in my underwear if I'm wrong.
Week 15, guys, wait for it.
I'll make sure that I'm not on the podcast that week.
Yeah,
The
Ducky will
secret
be
is I've been
watching
doing it in my
his
underwear
underwear.
the whole time. Um, but so what else? What other rule changes do we got?
We reduced the bench slot by one. I personally found, and me and Matt chatted about this a little bit, and even Kyle was involved in one of the conversations, that the waiver wire was just so picked through last year that there wasn't really the ability to go through and play with it. Whereas like 2 years ago when we had the defense and the punter, there was a couple people that maybe would have an extra defender where they kind of maybe play it by matchup or an extra punter or something like that. So that the waiver wire, because I felt like the waiver wire for last year, for whatever reason, just there was no real shock other than the Chase Brown, but that was more just due to the fact of someone just I don't know. I still have no idea Shane's rationale, and I don't even know if Shane knows his rationale in cutting him. It would be like me cutting Jalen Waddle in the middle of the year. Yeah, that's gonna kind of spice up the free agency, but it's a guy that shouldn't be on free agency. So we reduced that.
Yeah.
We might have added. I know we say might because ESPN's scoring settings are atrocious. We might have added a win column to defenses where if your defense wins regardless of the scoring, you get a point. The thought on that is to allow teams that, like defenses that are on good teams that may not be this stud defense, to still be able to kind of go toe to toe with like maybe the better, the higher caliber defenses, like the Steelers, for example. They're notorious for being 9-8, right? But you can also go after like Detroit Lions or the Green Bay Packers, who may not have as good of a defense, but you get that bonus point out of it.
Yeah, and so it's just gonna be 1 point though. So it's gonna be a pretty small change to the score.
Yeah, we're starting with 1 point because, to be completely honest with you, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what setting it was, and me and Matt kind of just were like, let's change this setting and see what happens. So we may be making a scoring system change after week 1 if we completely broke the defense. But it should start out as 1 point. If by the end of the year we want to tweak it a little more because it didn't really make that much of an impact, we may circle back around to that. But it's one of those minor changes that's like going from half a PPR to like a full PPR. I don't think it would change the league that much. Obviously 0 to 1 is a big change, but half a point I don't think would change it. So we're trying to expand the viability of players.
Yeah. And speaking of the viability of players, I think that we have a player who needed a special rule this year in Travis Hunter. What's going on with him?
My understanding is there's just no scoring for defense. It is what it is. I know I've done a fantasy baseball in the past. Pitchers who hit home runs don't get those scores because they're in the pitcher slot. It's the same thing with Travis Hunter. If we had defensive players, I think it would allow you to put him in, and it probably would push Travis Hunter's up to like maybe a first or second round pick because you're getting kind of 2 players out of it. But because we don't do defensive players, it's just you get offensive points out of them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think that was a good clarification. So no one, yeah, it wasn't the illusion they were getting a better player than they were, because no one else scores defensive points, of course. Then there was, I think maybe we're bearing the lead a bit. One of the probably the biggest change this year is the change to standings, right? We have there are 2 points up for grab every week.
Oh yes, oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. Yeah, we are trying out this system. Actually, I talked. Kyle in his family league does this, and he says he likes it. And I went back and looked at last year just to see how this rule would change things. And I think I think Snickers, you lost. You would have gone down the standing by one. I think Matt went down two, and I went up one. It's minor change, but the thought is if it removes the whole oh, I had such a big week, but I played against someone who went nuclear, right?
Yeah.
So the scoring change is the top six people who score points for get 1 point, like get one win, and the bottom six get one loss. And then the head to head is the same way. It's if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. So essentially, if I drop 200 and Nate drops 195 and no one else is in there, Nate goes 1-1. And then if I don't know, Shane drops 50 and Katie drops 45, Shane still gets that 1 point, but he also gets one loss to make it kind of cancel out the fact that if Nate had played Shane in that situation, he would have won.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't
So
expect it to make major changes at the end of the year, but the hope is that you can kind of truly, I don't know, like it makes the teams, it makes it you have less to complain about at the end of the day.
Right, it creates the illusion that
Yeah,
your performance is less based on luck.
right.
Because it
Which is
essentially sounds
somewhat
like we can put.
which is somewhat true. It's less head-to-head luck, because it always does kind of stink when you go and drop 130 or something like that, and you would beat everyone in the league but this one person. And I know that's the whole head-to-head aspect of it, and I didn't want to remove the head-to-head aspect of it because I love that trash talking aspect where you can kind of whenever I face Nate, I swear my phone is blowing up with just like just all these different trash talks, and I love that aspect. So I didn't want to remove that, but also we wanted to try out to see how this would work. And if at the end of the year we don't like it, we'll remove it. This is the whole point of the league is to try to make the league as enjoyable as possible for all parties, but without making it completely like I don't know coddled too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know Nate and I have both done this rule in other leagues before. That's a lot of fun. When you go 2-0, it's such a great feeling. And then when you're just kind of going through the dog days of the NFL season and you're like, okay, I know the league median's about like 110. And I'm just past 111. There's only a couple minutes left in the fourth quarter. I'm probably in, and you have to wait until end of day, Sunday night, Monday night to get your final score. It's pretty dramatic, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I went through last year and I looked at it, and like there's those weeks like when you and I played Snickers and Derrick Henry ran for like 900 yards,
Yeah.
and you were like top 5 on scoring, and you had that, you got a 1-1 there, but then later on there was a week where you put up, I think it was like I don't know 80 or 90, and that was bottom half, but you got the one, so you went 1-1. So I doing the exercise, it always seems to come out like in a wash. But it does, like Nate was saying, give you the illusion that there's less luck involved in who you're facing when.
And I think it just creates more involvement throughout the week because, if even if it comes out in the wash on the whole season in a given week, it just sucks when on Thursday night, your opponent gets 50 points from one player. You're like, well, that's the end of that week. I don't have the football watching is less exciting this week. But this way, you're still like, I still can snag points.
Yeah, exactly.
Something to root for.
And I think there was one other rule change, which may have actually been implemented last year. Did we implement the 3-year keeper rule last year, or is that starting this year?
That's starting this year.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah,
which impacted only Matt.
Was the only one that couldn't be kept. Nico, Puka, LaPorta, I think, are the only 3 that are on their last leg.
Yeah, and John Zamonra couldn't get kept this year.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So that's the only other major rule change.
Yeah, the only other things that Snickers and I wanted to make sure we discussed were not really rule changes as much as I don't know we could call them just like policies.
Reminders.
I don't know. the reminders that for trades this year, just for the ease of keeping track of things, I know that you commissioners would love for everyone to post your trades in the Discord. Um, and in fact, I think the policy is that if you don't do that, the trade doesn't count.
We just
Um,
reject the trade. So all trades go through just the commissioners, and if it gets put here and we don't get a notification. I think we did this with you last year, Snickers. Maybe it was 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
That was
Or
2
maybe it was
years ago, me
Kenny.
and Kyle.
It was Kyle. That's what it was. Yeah, we just kept
Yeah.
rejecting the trade, just being like, it was kind of to make a point. It was kind of petty about it, but it was to make the point, like, please put it here for visibility. We don't want trades going under the radar. And then people showing up, like, for example, we'll go with the minor one, the Bucky Irving and was it Xavier Worthy? Was that the trade last year?
I think so. I think so.
An under the radar trade where you trade it back. I know it was made in a joke, but like stuff like that where it's like we don't want to have someone shipping $10 to someone Venmo, be like, hey, can I borrow CMC this week? We want it visible. We want it known to everyone. Everyone knows what's going on. And then if they see some sort of unfair trade, they can make a stink out of it. And I feel like me and Matt are pretty fair on the trades, on what we allow and what we don't allow.
Yeah, and I think ultimately vetoes should still be used for situations that are specifically collusion or like someone got confused. And if we don't think it's going to work out, I think there should be room for you and Matt to say this trade sucks, but we're going to let it happen as long as both parties seem to know what they were doing.
I did that last year with the Jamar Chase trade. I did not think that. I still, to this day, I understand where Matt's logic was, but I think he overpaid, kind of like the whole Dallas Green Bay thing. It's like, I see where you're coming from, but you got fleeced a little bit.
Well, at the end of the day, I think Matt has the ability to say that the trade worked out. Me and him both made it to the semifinals. Like both of our teams shot up the standings after that, and I did beat him in the semifinals, but I believe it was quite close.
Yeah, no, like I said, I understand where Matt was coming from, and I see he needed the running backs, and in giving up Jamar Chase allowed him to get more. I just think he didn't have to give. There was a couple. I don't remember who he gave you. There was another running back he sent to you. Was it Rashid White?
Rashad White, yeah.
I just thought it would have been a Jamar Chase, but at the end of the day, it's his decision. He wanted to make sure he got all the pieces, and you guys came to the agreement. And I remember being out and getting that text and looking at my coworker being like, I don't know what the hell just happened in my league.
I remember negotiating that on the train. I'm feeling pretty good about myself, but I know I benefited. Matt I think was happy with it, but
and like he made it farther in the playoffs than me. So what do I get to say?
Now, me and Snickers also have. We were talking about the evolution of our yearly bets. I've won twice. Nick, you won it once, or no, I won it 3 times. I think actually, but
yeah, I should have won it once. Correct.
But there was 1 year where it was quite close. But we decided that we have a new idea that we came up with for this year's bets, which I think will get the league involved a little bit more. And it's we're kind of having a little side league called a Chump League, which Snickers had learned about, where it takes place for the first 11 weeks of the season. No new rosters or anything like that, but me and Nick are both going to place a bet on who we think is going to be the worst team that week.
Out of all 12 of us.
Out of all 12 of us. Because we'll get to that. So if one of us is right that team was in fact the worst, we'll get 3 points. And whoever's choice is just the lower performing of the two will get 1 point if it's not the worst person. Now, what makes it a Chump League is that the real worst team will be eliminated from the Chump League. And so the goal of this Chump League, which we'll just be playing through the regular season, is to be the only team not to be eliminated by the end of the year. And so we're going to send around a poll every week saying, who do you think is going to be eliminated from Chump League this year? And everyone can weigh in. And if you're right, you get a little point, a little side contest.
Okay.
Yeah, so me and Nate will be for actual points where the loser of our competition is going to have a big bet to do at the end of the year on top of regular rivalry weeks and everything like that. But this is just to get everyone else involved, like we were saying, that just participate in basically a survivor pool kind of challenge. But yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So there's 6 matchups every week. You guys are selecting one of those 6 matchups every week to say, so for the sake of argument, Kyle and I are playing this week. And
So
we're
we'll do
just
with
going to select
matchups.
one team. So I think Kyle's going to be the lowest scoring team this week, and Nate thinks you're going to be the lowest scoring team this week.
Oh,
out of all 12.
Okay.
Yeah, who's the hands down worst team of the week? And if you are actually the worst team of the league, you're out of the Chump League until
No
there's
one
only
can pick
one
you in the
non-Chump
next
left.
competition, right?
Okay, I see. So just to make sure I understand. So you're going to pick and say, okay, Nick's going to be the worst team this week. And if you're wrong, what happens?
So there's kind of two parts. There's the league-wide thing where everyone will send it a poll so everyone can guess who they think is going to be the worst team. If you're right and that person is eliminated, it goes towards your tally for the first 11 weeks of the year. You know, there's the side bet of me and Nick where if we are right, we'll get 3 points. But we're also
Oh, this
because
is part of your season-long thing.
it's a kind of
I see,
combined
okay.
thing. But you
Okay.
can also participate if you answer the poll. You can say you guys are both wrong. It's totally going to be me who's the worst one this week, you know? But then if you actually are the worst one, you're out of the Chump League. Your
So
team is.
if this week you have to choose between 11, next week's 10, 9, 8, whatever, all the way
Yeah.
until it's one person.
Yep, week
Yeah, and
11
the
will be
last
2 people left, and we'll both choose one, and be very dramatic.
Yeah, so I'll be interested to see if the winner of the Chump format actually performs well in the regular season. You would suspect that they would, but they don't have to. They could
Right. They
be
could be just good enough.
they could just be hanging on the whole year.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's kind of cool.
so
No,
some-
I like that idea because then you add a talking point to this, and you can kind of get people voting on it, which could theoretically create that animosity that you're looking for, Nate.
Yeah, and on that point, we can actually kind of get that started right now. If we don't
Nate,
have
I
a ton.
can't take you seriously with your head. Do you have the same image Snickers where Nate's head is in the middle of the shared screen?
I don't know how to get rid of that. I have a new computer.
Nate, you're looking great.
Yeah, did I do that? Is that what's going on right now? My head's just
It has
floating.
to be a setting on your end because it's not on my end.
How about this? Is that better?
Kind of.
I think you were good, Nate. We can.
No, actually, no. Yeah, I can't read anything now.
We're good with
I
it.
just leave it as is. I just find it funny that there's just Nate head in the middle of it.
Well, so let's look at the matchups and we'll take our pick for who is the chump this week. Let's see, the setup's all new here. How do we get to the matchups?
If you go to the scoreboard, we can look at it, yeah.
All right, so here we are. We've got our matchups. I'm projected at 115. Snickers, you're pretty close there at 111. We've got, I guess just scanning through here, John is 102. And he is actually projected by ESPN to be our chump this week, unless something happens, a change to his lineup.
Mm-hmm.
In this view, we can see some projected. I'm probably going to base it just off of.
Just so you know,
the
that's because
projected.
Rasheed Rice is suspended and he has him in his flex.
Okay, well that's good thing to know. His thing will bump up.
You say that confidently.
Well, if he changes this, I wouldn't put it past John not to set his lineup even in week 1. Now our reigning champion, only at 108, could be our chump this week too.
Yeah.
I might make you pick first, Ducky. Who's this week's chump?
Can you scroll down a little bit? I can just pull this up on mine. Why am I asking you to do it? Just pull it up on mine. Let's see what we got. Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm thinking it might be Carson.
Carson. All right,
Yeah,
and the brothers.
Good pick. 107. You got Josh Allen, though. You got Jamar Chase. So who
He's
knows?
got Josh Allen, Baltimore back. Josh Allen against Baltimore, and then Jamar Chase against Cleveland. But I don't think Jamar Chase is going to drop 400 points because that seems like it's going to be over in the first quarter.
Yeah, also the Bengals are going to lose week 1 because they always lose week 1. But no, that's a good pick. I'm scrolling through as well. I think I'm going to go with my week 2 opponent. Where's the Moon? which is Mr. Shane.
Wow. One of our highest score projected scorers of the week. Not that there's a huge variation, but
His two highest projections there are both quarterbacks, so we'll see how that goes.
I was kind of eyeing that kind of thing too. Um, which is why I am going with Kyler as my chump of the
Mm,
week. JJ McCarthy is one of his top two players. I don't know about that. So
yeah. So there we go. Lock him in. Check him out. Get ready for next week where we reveal our first chump.
that's right. And then just I'm also curious. So who you guys are picking for the Eliminator Challenge, another side contest we have going on in the league. I saw that as of today, there's only 4 people who've submitted. So if you haven't yet, do it. But I can share that I am going out and not picking the Bengals for the first time in 4 years. And I will be picking the
You know they're gonna win, lose now,
Broncos.
right?
I'm picking the
Oh no, they're gonna
Broncos
win
to
now.
win this week.
The
I don't
Broncos,
remember who the Broncos are playing, but I like the
They're
matchup at the
playing the
time.
Tennessee.
Tennessee
It's a good
Titans.
matchup.
Yeah. Cam Ward's first game at Mile High Stadium. There we go. I joined the league. It didn't have any options when I looked in, but I'll be doing that tonight. Got to look at who the best options are there.
Yeah, my debate is whether I want to go all in on it and go Miami against Indianapolis. Miami winning that one.
Yeah, Colts are slight favorites, right?
I don't know. Are they?
I think they're -1.5 or something. Yeah, but that if you were right, that would be an amazing pick. Yeah.
Yeah, set you up for long-term success.
In what world is Indianapolis the favorite? Is it just that? I guess Miami's that bad.
Dolphins suck. Yeah. But no, yeah, definitely good shout out there, Nate.
Did you guys send it in the Discord yet? Because I was looking at it earlier.
I didn't send in the Discord. I don't even know how to do that. I just noticed that it was an option in the fantasy football app, and then when I went to do it, they said, "Do you want to make this part of your league from last year?" And I said, "Yes."
Yeah, you can do it right from the ESPN app there.
Okay.
But yeah, so everyone, that's always a fun one. I think Kyle had a really deep run 2 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Nate's never made it past week 1.
Yeah, I remember mine landed last year on week 1.
Yeah, I've lost week 1 3 years in a row, but I did have a deep run the year before that. But yeah, I know we're getting run out of time. We'll ultimately follow a very similar format to past years, I think. Get some ads going, have guests on the show. But yeah, excited for year 4 of the pod.
Year 4, baby.
So thanks for joining us, Jackie, and I'm sure we'll have you on again at some point.
Yeah, I'm always down to come and trash your teammate.
Alrighty, guys. I'll talk to you all next week.
All right.